name is Nelson Ega. I'm a legal practitioner of close to 15 years practice. I'm into corporate commercial litigation. I'm also a constitutional lawyer, human rights advocate, and also real estate consultant. I've been in practice, real active legal practice, over 15 years immediately after my call to Barr ceremony. And I've been in Lagos practicing law and helping people. One of my drive is to see that the society becomes a better place by assisting and supporting widows, young children, indigent persons to the best of my ability.
Hi, Barrister Nelson.
Thank
It's good
you.
to have you on set today.
Thank you very much.
And how are you doing?
I'm very well, I thank God. God is good.
Okay, all the time.
Yeah.
Hi, viewers. Today we are taking another twist. We're having a barrister in the house. Yay! So with me today, Barrister Nelson will be talking to us about human rights and also the rights of widows. So stay tuned. So, Barrister, how's it been?
Oh, very good. Family is good. The children are okay.
Okay.
We thank God.
All right. Okay. During your intro, you said you like to see that the world becomes a better place. Okay. I mean, what brought about that drive, that passion, apart from practicing for money and all that? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ma. I grew up listening to inspirational messages, listening to servants of God, listening to people who could be of immense profit to me. One of them was T.L. Osborne.
Okay.
T.L. Osborne was a great preacher. Then have Archbishop Benson Idahosa and also Kenneth E. Hagin.
Okay.
These are people who didn't just support the work of God, but who made sure that the lives of people were touched. Both in India, for instance, T.L. Osborne, who was reaching out to the Asian world and to so many great people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so my experience growing up as a young person who gave his life to Christ very early and to support young people, because I lost my dad at the age of 22. So I had young people looking up to me because when I gave my life to Christ at the age of 17, as a teenager, I had people that could come to me and say, "Oh, Nelson, what can I do? How do I go about this?" Okay. And so I was committed to making sure that they become better persons.
Okay, yeah. So you mentioned that you lost your father at 22.
Yes.
Your widowed mom and your younger siblings. So how did you cope?
Thank you very much. I think the first important thing was that I knew God early and I was focused.
Okay.
I was very, very focused and had people around me, support group who could stand by me. And so when I lost my dad, they were there and they encouraged me. And two, by the grace of God, I was focused. And then my work. And two, before my dad died, he was so emphatic about education. I think one of such occasions was when he had to come personally to my school and take me to a scholarship center to write an exam so that I could have scholarship. I remember vividly how we drove in the rain, in the sense that it rained and we were not in a vehicle that could be covered, not in a covered vehicle, but it rained on us. But I could still remember how we walked to the community to have that scholarship exam. So those are the things that really gave me the drive to become a better person and to support people wherever they are.
So that's good. So now back to our question. What does the law say about human rights?
Thank you very much, man. The law is very, very wide. It's like an ocean. And so you have constitutional law, you have estate planning law, you have fundamental human rights, all entrenched in the Constitution. So Chapter 4 of the Constitution provides for the rights of individuals, of citizens. Then you have the United Nations Charter on Human People's Law, rights. You also have the African Charter on Human People's Rights. So these are embodiment of laws that protect human beings, because all humans are valid. They are human lives are valid. They are sanctified, as it were, and so they must be protected. And so there are different laws that guide them, and one of them is the ground norm of the Constitution, which is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay, that's right. Okay, now, what practices do we consider as cultural harmful practices?
Thank you very much. there are what you call constitutional law and family law. And then there are cultural practices that are harmful. For instance, when a man dies, now we're talking about widows. When a man dies and the world of the woman falls apart in a way because it's probably unexpected. And even if the woman knew that the husband would pass on, it's something that wasn't expected. Even when it happens, the woman begins to think of how to solve her problem. And so the laws that provide for the cultural practices that may be harmful to her would include naming and shaming, and even ensuring that she doesn't participate in the burial ceremony of the husband, and also not making decisions or participating in decision making toward the passing of the husband in terms of funeral services and all that.
Wow, interesting. Can a widow inherit her husband's property even though he died intestate? In the sense that for a layman, that's even if he died without writing a will, can a widow inherit his property?
Very well. There are laws that provide for the protection of humans, especially widows.
Really?
Yes.
I'm not sure the public is enlightened.
Now, for instance, if a man dies and the wife succeeds her, there's what you call sort of estate law. Lagos State has passed that. Other states have also passed that. There are judicial pronouncements about the right of women to own properties. Section 42 talks about the right against discrimination. And so when a woman dies, she cannot be discriminated against because they are both one, husband and wife. And the law is straight that a man and a woman are one before the law. And so when a man dies, it is obvious, it nails on him that the property passes to her, especially when she is the next of kin, except maybe the wife, the man wrote that, okay, she wrote a will. But in this case, if he didn't write a will, the property actually goes to her, And so there are laws that protect her to own the properties of the husband, especially when the husband died intestate, from the wife then to the children.
Interesting. But we've had stories of how the man dies intestate and the family of the man comes in to forcefully take the properties from the widow. So what's your advice to widows in that condition? They have to go to court to fight for their property back, or
Okay, thank you very much. As a legal practitioner who has been in this practice for about 15 years or thereabout, there are circumstances that every case must be treated on its merit.
Okay.
And so before you go to the court or before you go to the police, you must first and foremost put your house in order. If they say prevention is better than cure. And so what do you do? When your husband is alive, you have to have time to speak to your husband, have conversations with your husband, be intentional about your goals, because life happens. At the age of 40, at the age of 45, at the age of 50, you begin to think of, okay, what is the next plan for our children? So there should be need for you as a widow, before the woman becomes a widow, sit down with the husband, plan ahead and say, okay, what do we do when we are no more? Now, it's better for the wife to say when we are no more than to say when you die, because when the woman tells the man, what do you have for the children when you die? You're like, do you want to kill me? But when the wife says, okay, honey, we are getting old, God is blessing us, we're having properties, we're having shares, we're having real properties and personal properties, what do we do when we are no more? The husband will be able to say, yes, this woman has a plan for the children. It's not just concerned about herself, but concerned about the people that we are leaving behind. And so they should have honest conversations and then prepare towards that. And one of which is to ensure that the husband writes a will, and then, but if there is no will, she should make sure that the properties are in their both names, in their joint names. Now, most men and women, what they do, they write Mr. and Mrs. B, which is not known in law. So it could be Mr. Victor Ernest and Mrs. Victoria Ernest in full, so that both of them, once the husband passes on or the wife passes on, the property inures to the next person. Then in terms of estate planning, in terms of properties, your wife should be able to know what properties you have, what kind of business you do, who are your business associates. Because as a businessman or as someone who owns properties, people can come and begin to lay claims to these things. So if you are aware, they say knowledge is light, knowledge is power. When you are aware of these things, you're able to protect yourself and protect the children. That for the widowed woman.
We'll take a break, and after the break, Barrister Nelson will be telling us the common rights that widows should be aware of after the passing of their spouse. Yeah, welcome back.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
What are the common rights that widows should be aware of after the passing of their spouse?
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. First and foremost, under the Constitution, you have a right to life, Section 33. You have a right to human dignity, Section 34. You have a right to liberty, Section 35. Then you also have a right to freedom against discrimination, Section 42. Then you have a right to own property as well. And so then under the, what's it called, estate law, you have the right to own estate. You have the right to inherit properties as well. And then right against violation, against the human discrimination, right against violence against persons. So, and violence is much more than physical. It could be abusive, it could be emotional. And so if you know of these fundamental rights, then you can hold on to it and say, and then the right to family life, right to privacy as well, because that's under Section 37 or so. So when you, a man passes on, the widow should know that she's a person. She's a person, first and foremost, she's a whole human person, and she has the right, apart from the right to life, she has a right to human dignity, a right to privacy, a right to respect, a right to own property, a right to movement as well. You can't say because the man has died, she should be kept somewhere in isolation forever. Yes, there are cultural practices that are harmful, there are some that are not harmful. You know, because of the love for the man, you can decide to mourn him, depending on the cultural practices that are not inimical to your growth, to your personality. You can decide to mourn him in respect to him. But when it goes beyond that, you've got to look at the law and how the law can protect you.
Okay, thank you. There's another question I would like to ask. For a woman to inherit her husband's property, must they be legally married in a court or just church wedding? Can church wedding suffice?
Under Nigerian law, there are different...
Or customary law?
Under Nigerian law, marriages could be customary marriage, it could be statutory marriage, it could be Islamic marriage. Now, customary marriage is a marriage recognized by Nigerian law because we are first Africans before we were colonized by the whites. And so when a man marries a woman customarily, she has a right to the woman, to the man's property. You know, when you do a marriage in church, which they call church wedding, actually it's statutory marriage. The reason why they go to church is because they just want the blessing of the marriage. But if you want to get married statutorily, you do it at the registry. Marriage registry, recognized marriage registry. Then there are churches that are licensed place of worship. You can make inquiries and be sure that that church you are attending or you want to celebrate your marriage is a licensed place of worship that a marriage can be conducted. So that in the event you are unable to go to the registry to do your marriage, you can do your marriage, you can conduct your marriage in that church, and the marriage certificate will be issued to you in that particular church as well.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. Can you explain the process of estate planning and how it can benefit widows in securing their assets and properties?
Thank you very much. Estate planning is a long-term goal, and so one of the things that you must do when you and your wife, husband are alive is to have time to talk.
You mentioned that earlier.
There must be honest conversations, just like today we're having what they call parenting, intentional, you're being intentional in your parenting skill. So also you must be intentional in your estate planning, because it's a long-term goal. You're not just looking at your wife, you're not just looking at your children, you're looking at your next generation. And like the Bible says, a good man leaveth an inheritance for his children's children. And so when you have that intention of leaving your properties or leaving your inheritance to the next 3 to 4th generation, you must first and foremost be intentional. Secondly, there must be conversations, honest conversations. You and your spouse should sit down together and say, okay, where are we going to? Just like when you and a lady is going out for a wedding, the lady for a marriage, as it were, the ladies ask, oh, what are your plans? What are your goals? What are your visions? So also when you are in the marriage union, you should also ask yourself, when I leave the scene, or when we leave the scene, what do we have for these children? Yes, the most important thing is education. The best policy or the best thing you can give to your children or your ward is education, and the best education. Apart from that, you ask yourself, okay, what can I leave? What assets can I leave? You have properties, real properties and personal properties. Then after having that conversations, you could decide to write a will. You could decide to, your properties could be in the name of your children, as your wife as a trustee or as the one in charge of the property. Then you could also prepare a deed of gift. I encourage people, when you have enough properties, you could decide to, I gift this property to my child. When he's married, the property can be, whatever you want to do, it's better that way than for you to just live your life without a goal and without a purpose. Then for monies in bank, for investments, let your wife be carried along, let your spouse be carried along. So it's a two-way thing. Both the woman and the man, they have that honest conversation.
And also educational trust fund also.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Okay. All right. What legal recourse do widows have when they are being badly treated? I mean, thrown out of their properties. Can they still go to court even years after?
Okay, thank you so much. There is no limitation to fundamental rights. Under the Fundamental Right Enforcement Law, 2009, there are no limitation laws. In other words, you cannot stop them because 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 3 years, they did not do anything and they want to enforce it. No. The issue of limitation of law in terms of enforcing your right has been removed from the 1979 law, as it were, in 2009. So you can go to court to enforce it. You can meet, like for instance, agencies of government, like Lagos State government against sexual advances and all that. Then you can also, but first, like I said, it's there are what you call family law. So you've got to know how the family operates, and so you've got to understand the family you got married to, and have a good relationship with them. Yes, things happen, life happens, people change. Even those you cared for, you catered for, you supported, they could turn around and say, "Oh, I never knew you."
Of course, we had stories like that. Widows, with their in-laws, after the death of their spouse, the in-laws turn against them.
That's right. So you need to know that, and secondly, you need to have a support group. And I always tell people, have lawyers around you. Have lawyers around you. It could be for free. It could be whatever it is. Fund managers who could advise you. Investment bankers who could advise you on how to manage your funds or the family properties.
Welcome back. So, Barrister Nelson, there's this a real life story of a widow, and she came to us and she said that her husband died, wrote a will, and there were about 4 executors to that will. It was read, and but the executors, they refused to sign the letter from the probate. So what can she do?
All right, thank you very much. First and foremost, to be an executor of a will is a solemn responsibility. It's unfortunate that these executors have not turned around.
Yes, sorry to go, because what she said, the executors were the family of the late husband.
Wow. Yeah, executors could be family members, they could be friends, they could be business associates. First and foremost, a testator or someone that wrote a will is like a testator or a testatrix. For a male, is a testator. For a woman, a testatrix. So for you to have written a will, it means that you have planned for the next generation when you have passed this, when you have moved from the stage. And so the people that would execute that will must be people you know, people you trust, and people you believe in. And so life happens. They may turn around to say, "Oh, we are no longer going to execute that will." So what the lady needed to do or needs to do is to apply to the Administrator General of the state.
Okay.
You know, meet a lawyer, a family lawyer who knows what to do. The person will prepare the court processes, originating summons, as it were, the right court of process, and then ask the court to make an order appointing the Administrator General of the state, as it were, to now execute that will.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There may be other method. It may be family setting, you know, but like I said, for executors to turn around to say they're not going to apply for letter of probate for a will, you know, it's a shame on such executors.
Really?
And you know, so in that kind of situation, it needs to approach the state through the court to ask the court to either appoint the Administrator General of the state to now execute the will of our late husband.
Awesome. Okay, now in wrapping up, you belong to an NGO and you do pro bono cases. Just a brief.
All right, thank you so much, ma. Yeah, my name is Nelson Edgar once again, and like I said, because of my foundation, because of my background, somehow I just got connected to TLC, Total Life Consign. We are into widows work. We support indigent members of the society, genuine ones, and widows who are having issues with respect to their husband's family and all that. TLC is a ministry for widows, total life. It means spiritually, physically, financially, emotionally, towards a transformed woman. A widow is not, she is not a chattel. A widow should not be relegated to the background. A widow is someone that is strong, because when you train a woman, they say you train a society. When you despise a widow, you despise the society. And so that's why Total Life Consign TLC has come up to help widows in the country. They're based in Lagos. They have offices and extensions in Edo State, in Bayelsa, in Akwa Ibom State, and reaching out to other people. And so it's important that Nigerians support the widows. So I'm calling on the general public, I'm calling on spirited individuals to support widows, to support individuals in society, to encourage widows and even TLC and other like-minded NGOs in the society.
Wow, what an interesting session today. Thank you, Barrister Nelson, for coming, and I hope to see you more on our show.
God willing. Thank you.
So that's all, viewers. And you've heard, and every widow out there and every woman out there, life happens. Talk to your husband concerning the next phase of life when either of you will be no more. And this is our episode wrapping up. Thank you, stay blessed, and bye for now.